There's so much out there that's overwhelming information. There's a lot of predatory lenders out there, unfortunately. And sometimes we don't know how to sift through the mess, right? And so I think when we have folks that like organizations like ours, and I know you have other partners that like have that trusted community, and then you come in, it's like they know they can trust you by extension because this person or this organization wouldn't do me wrong. Buenos dias, Mayra.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for the invite. This is really exciting. You're one of my favorite people. TMC is one of my favorite organizations. I know I say that a lot, but it's true.
Oh, gracias. A ver, what are you drinking today? Is it coffee or tea?
It's coffee right now, but I've already been drinking a lot of it, so it's going to be empty soon, and I'm going to switch to the water because I really should be hydrating more.
What's your go-to? What's like your go-to coffee order?
I love coffee, but I'm like a latte fanatic. So I will drink regular coffee, but I love like the mochas, the pumpkin spice right now, the vanilla latte. I mean, I'll try all those sweet things. I got a big sweet tooth, so lattes for me.
Nice. Well, this is my third cup of coffee. And I'm plain like black coffee. This is an Americano, but I usually just brew my own coffee at home. So I buy my coffee beans, I grind them, and then I use a pour over to make my coffee every morning because I have my coffee every morning.
Fancy, girl. I just pour those grinds and I press a button. Yeah. But I do try to make my coffee because it gets pricey.
It gets pricey. Yeah. So when I treat myself, I do try to support a small business.
Yes.
So I go to like a local coffee shop, but that's rare.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm traveling or like meeting up with a friend. So
yeah, super important. Me too. I always go to local coffee shops, even if they're out of the way, even if they cost like $1 more. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, we got to practice what we preach, right? We got to go support." So, and it tastes better, honestly. I think so. Everyone has a different flavor, right? So it's really nice, I think, to like explore different coffee shops and taste the flavor. There's always a story and a history. There's always a vibe, good energy. So it's just better.
Oh, I love that. Well, a ver, tell me a little bit about Bella. Because I know you wear different hats, and today you're here with Bella.
Today I'm the Bella hat. I'm the beautiful hat.
Love the earrings, by the way.
Thank you. I got to brand it all out: cup, sweater, earrings. So Bella is actually an acronym. It spells out, or it stands for Brillantes Emprendedoras Latinas de Los Angeles. And I feel like although the organization is new, it's been around for, I'll say, almost 2.5 years. It was like a long time in the making because it's something that I really care about is supporting local businesses, local diverse businesses, but especially Latina business owners and Latina entrepreneurs. Just long story short, my family, I'm a daughter of Mexican immigrants. My family came to this country when my sister was 2. And my mom worked in the fields for many years. My dad worked actually at an Air Force base mowing lawns. And they became business owners. They found a different route, a different path in life. And myself and my siblings got to be a part of that. And it was actually really beautiful. At the time, it was a little like pulling teeth sometimes, but we would go to work with my parents. I'd go clean houses with my mom once she stopped working in the fields, and my dad would take my brother to go mow lawns on the weekends and in the summers. And so I feel like there was a real strong just like sense of belonging and culture and growth and all the beautiful things that come with them being business owners, but then also seeing all the struggles they had. And so, as I evolved and I grew and I went to college and, different programs I've worked in have been supporting small businesses, but then you start to see the gaps, right? You start to see like there's something more that you want to do that really drives you personally and professionally. And you don't need your 9 to 5 to do that, right? The beauty is that you can be creative and you can kind of let that energy out in different ways. And so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put this together. And Bella was born out of that kind of desire to support Latina women, seeing that there was gaps in services and support in communities that really focused on people that look like us, people that shared our language, people that shared our culture. And so I just started it. And people will ask me that question sometimes too, like, well, how did you start it? Well, you just do it, right? So I literally started with like an Instagram page.
Right.
And I launched that. And I put a website together. I'm very blessed to have a beautiful network of friends that like saw the vision with me and that cared and supported me and were just offering like, how can I help? How can I help? And so we just launched it, and it came from like obviously identifying like clear objectives and the mission, vision, values, and all of that came with it. But then just like living that and pushing it through in a very creative, in a very genuine and authentic way. So that's what I'm hoping folks kind of feel when they enter into our community and kind of embrace us and work with us, is that, you know, we're here for the right reasons and we're here to really learn and unlearn and grow together.
Right. And was it like a year ago when we met in South LA Cafe? It was about a year ago, I think. And
I think it was longer, actually.
Longer?
But maybe. Time flies when you're having fun.
Wow. And you were telling me about Bella and the work, you know, that you're doing. And that's around the time when we were developing Milestone product. And I think I brought it up briefly. And I was telling you about it. And I think at that time, maybe because you were also had a lot going on, maybe like it wasn't like a fit, or, you know, just the timing was off. But a year later, you're an official Milestone community partner, and you funded 5 loans now?
Yeah.
5 loans?
There's like 3 in the queue.
There's 3 in the queue. Yeah. So, if you want to share a little bit about that experience and how you've been able to help some of the Latina entrepreneurs through the Milestone program.
Yeah, so that's been a game changer. Honestly, I remember you sharing your vision. I remember Daniel sharing the vision. And it wasn't ever really something that I thought we would offer through Bella, was the like actually being able to access capital. It was obviously a resource that we shared, and we have other, you know, partners that we kind of guide folks to, and it's super critical and important. I just never thought that we could be someone that like partnered up with a lender to do that. I don't know. And so when kind of the conversation started and was like, wait, can we do this? Like, wouldn't that be super awesome to be able to match the community building with the technical assistance, with, you know, all the other things that we do in highlighting women's stories, with like actually being able to provide capital to folks. Now, we had started probably late in year 1 of founding Bella. We did launch our micro grant program, and we started with 1 micro grant of $1,000. So for me, it was the capital piece was important. The funding was important, right? Wasn't in big dollar amounts, but what I realized was that people really just needed, or some women just needed, a little bit of seed money to like push them to the next level, right?
Right.
So that was always something that was really important. So I just felt like the Milestone loan really aligned to that whole like objective of supporting women to really build their capacity within their business. And so, you know, we sat down, we had that meeting and learned all about it on the back end. And I know my eyes were probably like, like, wait a minute, what's happening? What do I got to do? But all in all, honestly, it's been a game changer. We've always have women now, since we started promoting it within our network, that want to learn more about it, want to know how it works. And our audience, you know, are those folks that even if they've been operating their business for several years, they haven't had that like sometimes foundational like courses, or even like we talk about the formal or informally established, right? There's sometimes those gaps, right? Those need to like learn more and to know where to go. And so I feel like Milestone does that. It really is a program and a loan that's more open to like more of helping these businesses get to that level. It's not like, well, you already should be here
Right.
and then we'll give you money, right? It's like, okay, you're just starting out. Maybe there's a couple things that, you're working through, and we try our best to kind of meet them where they are. And I feel like that's really important. And for a lot of women, they're even learning how loans work.
Right.
And so this is a really good step for them to like understand the process, knowing that traditional loans are a lot more complicated, but that this is going to kind of get them to start to understand, like, this is how the process works. We do need certain documents, but we're here to walk you through that and guide you through that. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been great. And a few weeks ago, I think, we were at a conference together, and some of the Bella participants were there. And I spoke to one of the Latina entrepreneurs. And she brought up the milestone, and she said, Mayra, I've never taken out a loan before. Like, I don't know if I'm ready. I've been using credit cards. It just scares me. So, so I'm glad that you're, happy, that you're able to support the Latina entrepreneurs and, help them start that small business credit, right? Or lending, or just change the perspective on taking on debt, right? I tell our clients, it's not debt, it's an investment. You're investing in your small business.
Yeah.
But happy to have you on board as a community partner.
Yeah, and you talked about, the fear. I feel like that's something that circulates often when you're starting a new venture, like a small business. Because it's one thing to like have knowledge of, let's say it's a product you're selling, like a beauty product. Like you could be the expert in creating that product, all about the product, right? But like the operation of the business itself, like the legal side of things or the funding side of things, or that's something you got to learn. Like it's not easy to navigate, right? And so I think folks come sometimes with the fear, but what I like about the milestone loan and how we've approached it is, and I'll always say this, it's not like I'm trying to sell them the loan, right? It's not like trying to convince them that this is what they need and it's going to solve all their problems, but rather that timing matters too. So let me tell you all about it. Let me tell you how it works. Let me be transparent, ask all your questions. And ultimately you need to decide if this is what is good for you and if this is the right time for it. Because I've worked with some folks where they were getting ready to like apply and then they kind of took a step back. And it's also like confirming those feelings of like, it's okay to not be sure, right? It's a big step for a lot of folks. And so it might not be the right time, but you know what? We're here and we're going to be here and we have this product. So when you're ready, just say the word and then we can set up a time to talk about it again, right? And get you get you the application or whatnot. And so I think just having that difference again between like a traditional loan that you may access at a bigger institution or a traditional institution is that there's that personal touch and there's that personal kind of like identification of like, I see you and I see myself in you and I hope you see yourself in me, right? Like we're doing this together and we're here to help you. And as I'm saying that, I'm like, I hope it doesn't sound cheesy because it's really how I see it. It's really how I see this whole process working. So,
and I guess that's the vision of this product, right? That they're working directly with you. Like they're not working with Mayra. They're not working directly with our team, our underwriters. They're working with Rocio, right? Or Bella. So that trust is there. They trust you. So I think that's like another reason why they feel comfortable, right? Like being honest and saying like, look, I'm not ready, or let me think about this. Would you like to share a success story?
Yeah, I think there's a few and, I'll speak kind of in general terms because I know we haven't asked permission to share specific details.
Yeah, totally.
But I know there was a business owner and she was, wanting to take her business to the next level and, needing to purchase some equipment to make that happen. And she, didn't know where to go. She didn't have the funds. She heard of the milestone loan and she's like, I'm just going to apply. Now she's one that's like she did a really great job at like getting us all the things she needed right away, and sometimes obviously we know like we need the right documents. There's a little bit back and forth. It could take longer, right? But she was on it. And she was able to, with the funding, able to purchase the equipment that she needed and essentially allowed her to diversify her business, scale her business, grow it, to be able to offer more and to do more for people, right? And to generate more revenue. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's doing for her, right? Gave her a fresh look, with her branding and her business. And so I think all around, she was really grateful for the funding that was received and knowing that, okay, yes, it's a loan versus a grant, because I think part of that education has to happen too, but it's really doable to have to like make the payments back and, all the details that come with that specific loan. But yeah, and I think one of the nice things that I've seen is, and, because she's not the only one, there's other examples, but folks start to tell other people about it. And you and I have talked about this offline about like just the beauty of like that, like word of mouth marketing and how like it's not gone. We were just talking about AI and all this stuff right before. It's like, I think like the human element and the human touch and connection's always going to be there. We're social beings, And so the beauty of that is that like the word of mouth happens. So they have a good experience. The product does something for them, and then they naturally just talk to people about it. And so other people hear about it and they're like, oh, what is this, right? So at the end of the day, I mean, they're supporting their business, but they also, it's like a ripple effect. They're bringing that to other potential business owners, or as we share it within our network, it's like we've had it where, we started, it hasn't been a long time since we've been promoting it or had the partnership, but, we get inquiries. And I think about like, well, we didn't get them like a month ago. They're new folks. Well, I think part of that's because the message is starting to spread,
Right. Yeah. No, that's great. I'm also curious, Rocio, like what has been your experience as a milestone partner? Because I know when we did the training with you, you're like, Mayra, I've never done lending before.
Yes, very true. This is true. Very transparent. I was like, wait, let's put all the cards on the table. This is not my wheelhouse, right? But you all have made it really like fun and clear and just easy, I'll say, like to work with you all to get this going. I know I have a ton of questions to this day.
We'll talk later.
It's like the emails and messages, like it's like 7:00 at night. No, people don't need to know that behind the scenes. But I think it's been really great because for me, it's been a learning process too, right? And it's been. And I know because you all developed this and it's a new product for you too, there's been some learning and you appreciate the feedback, the honest feedback, I'll say, about like, why don't we do this? And I think in the beginning, I think I've slowed down, but I think in the beginning I was like, we should do this and you should do that and you should do that, right? And I was like, oh, well, okay, easier said than done.
All great ideas.
Thank you. But I was like, okay, maybe it's a little like overboard. But I think that just the fact that you all were like, oh, okay, thank you. Like that's, we hadn't thought about that. Or, oh yeah, we had another partner say that. Maybe we should, just real open to being flexible and almost like co-creating that process together has been I think just really great. Like for us too, to figure out, we have this now, like, how do we grow the partnership with you? How do we scale this into something like different or more in the future too, just in general, right? So, and ultimately, again, is to bring that to our community, right? In a way that's accessible, that's non-threatening, that's very just understanding of like what folks are going through. So yeah, you all have been grabbed, no complaints. And I'm not just saying that because we're here, the public eye. Yeah.
No, we appreciate the feedback because sometimes we forget, like we're lenders and, we, think everyone else knows the process.
Clearly, that was not the case with me.
No, but it's useful because, most of our community partners are not lenders, right?
Yeah.
They're organizations that are offering one-on-one business support, right?
Yeah.
So we appreciate you being, speaking up and giving us ideas, which we have,
Yeah, no,
had other partners also do. Like,
yeah. No, it's really great. I think the trust is obviously something we've developed over time, right? So, and I always share this with our communities. Like, I wouldn't bring resources to you if I wouldn't trust them for myself,
right?
And I think that that's important because there's so much out there that's overwhelming information. There's a lot of predatory lenders out there, unfortunately. And sometimes we don't know how to sift through the mess, right? And so I think when we have folks that like organizations like ours, and I know you have other partners that like have that trusted community, and then you come in, it's like they know they can trust you by extension because this person or this organization wouldn't do me wrong. They're bringing this to me because they're legit, because they're real, because they're going to follow through, and I'm very cognizant of that. Like I take that very seriously. And so I think that definitely there's that trust to be honest about me, and whatever shortcomings we have on our end, but just also the appreciation for you all, your team and the partnership in general.
Yeah. And it ends up being like a full circle, right? Like this trust-based lending. The client is trusting Teams Community Capital because they have that relationship or that trust with you. And we're also trusting your relationship with the client, right?
Right.
So it's like a full circle.
Yes, exactly. That's a good point. Yep. I think the growth that I've seen with TMC, again, like knowing the journey has been really awesome to be a part of. And I know you have things that are brewing. I know you have like other products and programs. And so I think like my question comes from like a point of curiosity is like, what do you all have coming down the pike? But I don't know if you can share that because a lot of that stuff's done background, but any teasers you can give about what's coming?
I think you already know what's coming. I think, the meeting we were having yesterday is what's coming.
Episode 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it doesn't, stop at milestone. I think once your clients, their Latino entrepreneurs are ready to grow and request additional funding, I think that's where you also come in, right? And can help them or assist them with like a larger loan amount. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would be like a learning curve too, is like understanding like the eligibility between the products, like connecting the dots, right? Like, okay, they have the milestone. When and how do they access the next level? Can they? Like what? And how do we help prepare them for that? Right? I think because that's, I know what you look to for your partners is, like you said, a lot of that TA side of things. It's like, what can we bring to the table to further support our entrepreneurs in our community beyond kind of the capital and the loans they're getting from you, right? It's like, where are those gaps? And I think that requires like really intentional time to sit down together and almost kind of like map that out. And maybe that's an ask, for the future is like, when can we have our strategic retreat,
Our milestone community partner retreat.
Yeah, or even like I think I shared this before, like bringing all the partners together and doing like a one day all together, because obviously there's things that other folks are doing that work really well that maybe we want to do and vice versa, so that's not to put more work on everybody, but it would be more work. But I think something that would benefit a lot of folks, moving forward. So
no, I do. That's one of the suggestions you made when you first
it was
were onboarding.
Okay.
You're like, when am I going to meet the rest of the partners? So we definitely looking to plan maybe like a date where I don't know if it's going to be in person, but at least you'll get to meet everyone that's offering the milestone and share ideas, right?
Yeah.
On what's working for one partner. Maybe it's something like you can implement. But that's definitely something. That was your suggestion. That was your idea. I'll give you credit for that. And talking about one of your clients, one of your existing clients already reached out for an increase.
Really? Okay. Okay. Well, good for her.
Yeah,
it's also about empowering themselves, right? It's like you're not going to know if you don't ask a question. You're not going to receive if you're not going to be willing to put yourself out there and ask. So that's actually a beautiful thing to hear, that they, took the step on their own to initiate that. So
Yeah,
that's great.
It sounds like, the process is smooth. They received the money and I'm sure they used it. The way they said they would, which, led to additional funding, right? So the opportunity is there. So we're looking into seeing how we can assist her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's great. Yeah, I love that. As long as it's all for good, I think that's great.
Well, muchísimas gracias, Rocio. Thanks for joining me for coffee today. Just to wrap things up, I'm going to ask you the same question you asked me. What does the community have to know, or what's next for Bella?
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things. So I think we're continuing to just build our own capacity, right? So we plan to continue our grant program, and we're always fundraising for that. We're about to host what I won't call a conference, although it's kind of like a conference feel for women entrepreneurs, but I really want to mix in kind of the social community building aspect, along with some of the kind of deep reflection, goal setting with the women. And I feel like one of the things that we do is there's a lot of great programs out there. And I always tell the women that you should always be looking for where to learn, where you fit in, what is going to bring a value to you and your business. And there's so many great programs out there. And so I think with us, we've really tried to find are there any gaps and how can we fill those? So I feel like the real kind of authentic, intimate kind of settings to gather the women around and just let them be and just appreciate them for who they are, and welcoming them as I always say, their authentic selves, to just share in whether it be personal or business, just challenges and successes, and just have a time to themselves to be present, I think is really important. And so this event we're hosting next month is going to do a lot of that. It's we're going to have live music, we're going to have food. We want women to get to know each other. There's actually a lot of women that don't know each other within our network. And then we're going to kind of, also bring in the element of let's really kind of reflect on where we are and where we want to go. And so that's where kind of more of the goal setting, the business planning element will come in a little bit. But I want to infuse it in a way that feels just organic and normal and natural, right? Not like a business class that folks are taking. And so that's exciting. It's the first time we host anything like that. So I'm excited for what that's going to feel like. We also have our Emprendedoras on the Rise. Yes. We launched our first cohort this year. It was a 5-week program. It was virtual, except for the last day. We had an in-person celebration. And it was more on the TA side, but still wrapping it around that community and culture, celebration of who we are and kind of the sisterhood that we develop. So we had 28 women complete that. And I think for being an inaugural cohort, it was really exciting to see the interest, the energy, the excitement, and know that we were filling a need. And so we want to do that every year. And so early 2024, we're going to launch our second cohort of Emprendedoras. And just looking to see how we can make it better, how we can add more value, bringing in partners that can support the girls, because we were doing coaching. We also had a grant that women were eligible for. So that is something definitely that we want to grow, is how do we put those stakes in the ground in terms of expected or annual events or programs, right? Because I think for us, it's about building our capacity, which also means we have to look for funding to continue to serve and to serve in different ways. But I just see the community growing. Honestly, I think the more women, the more bellas, as I call them, that we can welcome into our community and support them in whichever way that is for them. Because I always tell them, it's your journey. No one should tell you how to live it. You own that, and so we're just here to support that journey. And I honestly, personally myself, I just feel really grateful and honored to be a part of that, even in a little way. And so I think for Bella is just expanding and reaching more women and understanding what the need is so that we can try to fill that need as well. So
Oh, I love that. I love the work that you do, and let us know how we can support you in any way. We'd love to join you if we can, if you're inviting community partners. But
Yes.
yeah, well, that's exciting, Rocio. I'm excited for you. Super inspiring. I'm still like, I don't know how you do it. But it's inspiring and it's motivating. So thank you for being a partner.
Thank you. Thank you for everything, and for TMC, but also for you and who you are and what you bring to it. I think it makes it what it is. Like, it wouldn't be this partnership if it wasn't for you and Daniel and the leadership at TMC. So I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.